big round of applause. Over to you, Monica.
Thank you, Ruby. Thank you to my family. I'd like to start by asking each of you to... Hi. I'd like to kick off by asking each of you to make a bit of a brief opening statement. If you could really focus on telling us how, in the last, say, year or 18 months, artificial intelligence has transformed your professional field of operations. Please, Shekhar, if you could kick off.
I don't have a profession. When I was 24, there was one decision I made because I was a middle-class Indian boy, and you know, in middle-class Indian boys, we are overburdened with one word called career, and the second overburdened is profession. I decided to drop both, and I decided to lead a life of adventure. So people say, but what do you do? I said, I live. What's your profession? Whatever I'm doing, whenever I'm doing, whichever way I'll do. What's your career? I never had one. So you're talking to a person who is not a professional at all. Although I was a chartered accountant, I can tell you that. Which is the lack of creativity. I'm going to argue that. The lack of career, the lack of professionalism is the beginning of creativity. Now deal with that. Okay? All right.
Aparna?
I'm a sort of very oriented person coming from a small town and abided by whatever the trend was. So, reverting to your question, replying to your question, I think AI has really changed the life today in past at least 18 months. And what it has actually done is, it is asking business people to start thinking differently, how to run their trade differently. As of now, it has been the normal way in which any of the institutions do their businesses. They'll go on, coming out with new products, or they'll do something like that which enhances the customer experience. But AI actually has made the business guys think about what is the new way to do the business. And that is playing a very, very critical role where imagination is now become a very critical competitive advantage, because it is asking, it is asking the industries to leave away whatever so far they have thought and run their business. So AI has created, somebody thought about it. So there was now thinking that went to transformation. We are at a stage of transformation. So things are getting transformed, right? But the next stage is going to be the responsible AI, and which is going to matter really big time the way AI actually is going to work. Because as of now, ethics, inclusivity, responsibility is still to an extent not there as part of the AI tool. So the next stage will be that, definitely. But it's going to remain. So that's something which has made a huge difference in our life. So that's my take.
I don't know whether I've been as adventurous, but very close to Shekhar. When I was a kid, two problems were my personal problems. One, I didn't want to die. And second, I didn't want to work because I saw my dad very tired after work. So when I grew up, I found something beautiful, which is in creative business of advertising, which is a commune of people who didn't want to work, but wanted to imagine it. And I feel what AI has done is beautiful. It has called out all the mediocre imaginators for some reason, because we should take a long time to figure out that whether this idea is good or bad, whether this entire piece of work which we are putting out is good or bad. But today AI does it faster. We don't have to take that time. So actually our business of imagination has become better. It's actually become faster, better, and more thrilling, I would say.
Can I say something about AI? Since we've already started talking about it. Okay, AI is the most democratic technology ever. Not since the invention of wheel did we have something like this. But it's a democratic technology because it is going to give the power to the bottom of the pyramid. That's what it's going to do. So, can I tell you a story? Yeah, okay. So the CEO walking in, he's going to make a $10 billion fundraise request in the evening. He goes to his office early in the morning. Nobody's going to be in his office. But the cleaning lady was there. And he walked in and the cleaning lady said, "Sir, I found these papers in your waste paper basket. Are they ready to throw away?" He looks at them, it's his presentation. Now he looks at the cleaning lady and says, "Where did she get this? And is she a plant by my competitor?" But she's just a cleaning lady. You see her every day. She does nothing but clean the office. Kya pata usko? Kya malu? Kya nahi? And then no, gives it to me. He walks towards his cabin. And as he's walking in, the cleaning lady says, "Sir, wo maaf kijiye, lekin aapka jo hai na, wo galat hai." And he's like, "What?" He gets upset and he says, "Kya pata isko yaar, jaane do." He walks into his office, sits down. But you know when doubt sets in, even if it's the cleaning lady's doubt, he reads it, he realizes there's something wrong. And on his door, there's a little rap. And from under the door, he sees these papers coming in. From outside the door, the cleaning lady says, "Sir, maine bhi kuch likha, padh lijiye." Why would he read something from the cleaning lady? But doubt aa gaya na, to padhna padega. So he reads it, and you know what he realizes? She's right. So what's actually happening? AI is happening. That's what happens. Who was he? How did he out his presentation? He went to Harvard, he went to Princeton. He lived in the world and the economy that just passed away, is dying. He took it to McKinsey's, paid a few $1 million to McKinsey's, to all the financial experts in the world, and they had gone to Princeton, they were chartered accountants, they had done Harvard, and they had given this presentation. The cleaning lady's head was completely clean of that. She wasn't packed with education. She wasn't packed with yesterday. She learned the art of prompting. He didn't give much attention. She prompted with AI and came up with the solutions. She was new to it, she was better. So my contention is, because we are structured in our society, in all organizations, as a pyramid, CEO and bottom. Now, if the cleaning lady, because it's all about ability, the ability that the CEO has, and I'll come to you what both of them have in common, is surpassed by AI. And so the pyramid will fall and it'll come flat. In the flat pyramid, how do we deal with society? Well, forget creativity. How do we deal with society? Who is the boss? Who's the cleaning lady? Well, both of them share the same ability. So what's the ability? That's what you just said. Ability is intuition, right? So how, this is going to be a major problem worldwide in every place that we eat. What is intuition? We've forgotten intuitivity. We've gone on to education, we've gone on to ye bada, ye chota, and all. That's all going in a flat pyramid. So I don't know, but I can tell you where I'm getting my inspiration from. Do you know these things called the murmurings of the spirit? We've all seen them, 1,000 birds moving, some like this, some like that, and then suddenly they all move. And when they all move in a group, well, pata nahi chalta hai. Which bird made the choice? Which bird, which sparrow was the leader? Which sparrow was a follower? None. And if it's none, we're talking about a flat pyramid. We're talking about the world of AI. So the only thing that holds everybody together is intuitivity. And words that we have lost. Trust, love, compassion, intuition. In the world of AI, if we forget that AI is not just the way, I was in some very big, and they were talking about, AI is going to help us deal and understand our consumers. And I quoted 40 and rising, 50% of the people in the UK that buy anything are not making the decision themselves. They're making it through their AI. So it's your AI talking to their AI. So how do you even know your customer? You don't. So forget all that. This is a new word that we've all got to use, the consumer. And AI is not just a way to make yourself more efficient. It's a turmoil. It's going to change society for me in a much better way. It's going to make the pyramid flat. It's going to rise from the bottom because that's where it's needed. The CEOs don't need AI. They're running, they're fine. The bottom of the pyramid also need. Passion is also what you're desperate for. The bottom of the pyramid is desperate to ride. Now, big bricks looks like better stop. But AI is going to create a completely different society over time.
So, many more 20-year-old chartered accountants likely to be filmmakers because of AI?
No, I'm saying that I'm already starting. My next production is going to be AI films. I am now starting I'm like the CEO of film, right? As a director, I'm becoming the CEO. But A.R. Rahman and we've been running a music school in Dharavi for the kids of the slum for hip hop. Then Universal joined us, which was good. I am now starting an AI film school for 11, 12-year-old slum kids and teach them the art of prompting, right? And they will be on their computers and one kid is going to make the next avatar sitting in a slum in India because he can make it at 1,000th of the cost that they can make it in Hollywood. So suddenly filmmaking becomes a hugely democratic period. So I was just showing somebody here. I showed them just like images that would have taken months to create, whether animation or filmmaking, they were done in 2 nights, overnight. So yeah, it's going to be a big problem for me if I don't adapt to AI filmmaking. Right?
So Aparna, if I could come back to something, you spoke about responsible AI. And I think you were coming at it from a slightly different perspective, working less with Gen AI, more with other kinds of artificial intelligence. So could you speak a bit about the problems that you see with the ethics of AI, specifically perhaps with privacy, since you work in the financial services industry?
So it's a very good question because the data is everywhere today. And so we see in all digital channels, including Aadhaar data. And that becomes a real big issue, particularly for the financial institutions, because customer is actually giving their own data to the bank as a custodian, right? To the financial institutions. They don't own the data. The data belongs to the customer. But it is their ownership that they have to protect that data in whatever way and form, and in turn have that privacy of the customer data to be remain. And for that purpose, regulators have now come up with lot of very, very stringent laws. We have seen the DPDP Act, right? The Digital Customer Protection Data. We have seen GDPR. GDPR was long back there from the UK, Europe. So if you look at it today, it has become so much important to have not just the data protected, but also to protect the identity and privacy of the customer with the secrecy. Because you have everything today available to get that data of the customer across from anywhere and everywhere. So now, from a technology perspective, there is a homomorphic encryption, a way. There is a method in which, even if your data is available, the institution which is using it, they cannot see your raw data. So for example, Aparna Kumar, now Aparna Kumar is a raw data, but there will be something like ABCD 1, 2, 3, and everything will happen with that ABCD 1, 2, 3. So what is happening is, you are trying to get the customer details, demographics. You are also getting all other information without actually knowing that it is about whom. And then you churn out that data, come up with a set of data which is going to then tell you what are the customer needs. So you predict, but you don't lose the identity of the customer because it is protected. So the technology is actually moving forward by coming up with these more technical nuances and solutions which are going to protect the data. Because you under whatever circumstances that we are seeing a lot of cyber frauds and all. So AI is also trying to assist into having the real-time detection of the fraud which is happening. It's a huge number. The frauds are like running in thousands of crores, right? So AI is assisting in that. But on the other hand, to protect the raw data of the customer, technology layer is getting built. And that is where the data is getting encrypted. But you can still use the data of Aparna Kumar or people like Aparna Kumar and come up with what customer needs are, so that you are able to then service them more. So it's both ways. You also have to protect and you also have to improve the customer experience. Also their needs, you predict their needs and you serve them better. So that's how the institutions are trying to, take care of the privacy of the customer data. It's not easy because we have come a long way. The data was exposed, everything was available very easily. But I think those methods and these laws are actually helping along with the technology to protect. So that's what we are doing. I'm saying institutions are doing.
Sure, thanks. Suraj, you said AI has made your jobs a lot easier, a lot quicker. But something that I think as an ad professional, you're really focused on creating value for your clients, for consumers. How do you train people who are coming into the profession into knowing what value they can add and what value AI can add? How do they distinguish between what needs a human touch and what doesn't?
That's a good question, and I don't think we have a ready answer, but we have sense of things. And maybe because, like one of the things which really works in creative industry is there's no playbook. There's no one particular discipline you can study and be successful in the creative business. It's so multidisciplinary in nature, and not today, every time. Whether sociology, anthropology, quantum physics, name one subject. I mean, for instance, when I was a kid, my father asked me which subject you're very good at. I said all, and he was very disappointed. And then that skill of being able to connect different dots, it's something we are realizing is working with young people, so we look for them. Just before the conversation, we were talking about what kind of people we like to hire. We like to hire people who are not coming from the degrees and diplomas. They're coming from life. When they come from life, there are stories of life, there are stories of materialism, there are stories of achievements, stories of adversity. I think those people are able to connect different things, because in our business, we are actually using art to connect brands and people. It's a very tricky one. Where do you make sure that these dots connect? Depends on the diverse understanding young people have. And we are training a lot on them. For instance, we are no more having conversation on what kind of idea. We are having more conversation on what your passion points are. Just to give you another real example, what we did in our company when I was there, we asked everybody what brings you to life, not work. For instance, my Delhi head said music. He was part of a band, music band. So in his designation, it was Nikhil Mahajan, music lover. So I feel that increasingly we'll have to look at different ways of identifying and training people to connect dots and be interested in how to look at something which you've never thought about.
So do you think there's a role for that in professional education?
100%, there is a role for it, because we are experimenting. It's a social experiment going on today with everything Shekhar was saying. Nobody knows. If, like he said, CEO or the trainee, nobody knows, and that sense of not knowing, when you're in the dark, there's no CEO. Everybody is CEO, right? And the one with the torch, or one with the sense of light, and that light can probably need some academic intervention, because we need to create such people. For instance, I was telling Jaya that why does a MICA certificate stays valid forever? Should it have expiry date? Radical ideas like this we'll have to start thinking, and maybe academic institutions are better suited to get that research, get that understanding.
So one of the large multinational companies, the principle that they follow is every day you retire and the next day is day one for you. And they conduct a big time management trainings for senior executives, because none of us do that, let me be very honest, right? And they actually have a 3-day program which they go out and they actually train the corporates which is outside their realm, to make them understand that what it means when every day it is a day one for you. And that's a challenge. We don't feel, because we carry our work back home and next day morning we are again back, not with those great ideas, and not everybody, but like you mentioned, those 20 or Gen Zs will definitely come up with new ideas. So that's a concept, a very radical change which is happening.
I want to bring Shekhar in on this theme. I think some time ago you predicted that in 5 years, 80% of all content will be generated and delivered by AI. So what do you think that aspiring artists and creatives need to do to get ready for that kind of a universe?
Do you mind if I say something about data?
Please.
Privacy. It's a very Western concept, huh? Privacy. Gaon jao, raho wahan. Where is the privacy? Joint family mein kiski privacy hoti hai? We get engulfed by the West because Indian education was not linear. Now the Western education is linear, so privacy, data is the new oil. I've been hearing this for 10 years. I used to say, realize what is data? What is a consumer? AI is going to ask you that. I don't care. I mean, I go and buy, what's privacy? Arey yaar, Karan Johar jata hai bahar, wo Armani khareedta hai, aur samne to likha hota hai Armani. Privacy kahan? We are not private people. 80% of India does not have privacy. That's why there is a reason that ChatGPT, we are already ChatGPT's second largest market in the world, because we don't have these issues. We have issues of eating, we have issues of housing, we have this. In that, we have to see, what is my privacy? Where does privacy come? It's not data. What's my data? ले लो, क्या चाहिए? वही गांव में जाओ, भाई डेटा क्या तेरा, क्या छुपाएं? सब देखो, कुर्ता पहना फटा हुआ है. That's 80% of India. Let's understand, we are not products of the West. We are not products, and big corporations are not going to last. Let's forget it. It's gone. That area is gone. Now, what was your next question? What was your question? Yeah, am I worried about?
No, I'm asking, if you say that 80% of content is going to be made by AI, delivered by AI.
Yeah.
If you are a young aspiring artist today, what do you need to do? What sort of skills do you need to develop? How do you approach that?
Storytelling. All art is storytelling. All production design is storytelling. Somebody said, camera aise tasveer लो. Just by the fact that you have taken that picture and the way you formed your picture, you're telling a story. All art, everything that we do, 90% of what we do is creative. Creativity is not some kind of a hidden little talent. Look at children. वो crayon दे दो किसी बच्चे के हाथ में, क्या करता है बच्चा? They're being creative, right? So, and the crayon is technology. Camera, when I use the camera, जो आप लोग camera use करें, look inside it. It's a data gathering device. It's technology. ऐसा कुछ नहीं, आप इधर उधर कर रहे हैं, वो बाकी ठीक है. अंदर तो data gathering device है. So we've already. Do you remember? You're much younger than me. Do you remember? कि जब इंडिया में ट्रैक्टर आ रहा था तो सारी इंडिया खड़ी हो गई थी. या वो तो किसान का क्या होगा, ट्रैक्टर आ गया तो अभी तो प्रोडक्टिविटी किसान तो गए, किसान तो नहीं रहे, किसान ने ट्रैक्टर सीख लिया, है ना? We get adapted to new technology. I love it. I'll tell you another story. मिस्टर इंडिया किसने नहीं देखी बताओ? सबने देखी है, right? Constantly everybody is talking about Mr. 2, Mr. India 2, Mr. India 2, Mr. India 2, Mr. India 2. मैंने कहा यार मैं नहीं डायरेक्ट कर सकता, किसी और को बोलो डायरेक्ट करते, लेकिन I will help you write Mr. India 2. दूसरी कहानी बहुत very big writers came, took a lot of money, not from me thankfully, but normally तो एक दिन मेरा एक है वो guy who cooks over. सर मैंने भी Mr. India 2 की कहानी लिखी है, 6 महीने पहले की बात है. तो मैंने कहा अच्छा अब या तो खाना ठीक ना खाओ या उसकी कहानी पढ़ लो. कहानी पढ़ी, best one. And I said, अरे नीलेश ये कहानी कैसे लाए? तो कहानी की सर वो आपके कंप्यूटर पे ChatGPT पे. तो yes, of course, technology is changing, but my cook now is a writer. Should I deny him that? Now he's given it. नीलेश तो है यहाँ पे. अगर शर्माता है तुम इसको बात है ये कहानी सुनाऊंगा तो तुम बुला लो. So something in art that is becoming so democratic. But then the argument from me getting up in the morning and doing something? Is creativity different from the way I live my life? Is creativity different from my philosophy? So when you say school of creativity, it's a school of everything. It's a school of not knowing. So why would technology interfere? I love it. I love the fact that my daughter can sit down and say, that's an interesting song. Where did you get it? Well, ChatGPT gave it to me. Yeah, of course. But it is such a vast unknown creativity that how can technology even? मैं आज बात करता हूँ आपसे, मैं कहता हूँ, अच्छा ये क्या है? You talked about quantum physics. I'll ask you something. Can anybody answer me कि जो वो cave number 16 बना हुआ शिवा cave एलोरा में क्या था उनके पास? Hammer और chisel? कैसे बना दिया? किसी नाक थोड़ी सी कट जाए बुद्धि से तो क्या दोबारा पूरा कोई और पत्थर ढूंढेंगे? नहीं. क्या था उनके पास? Some kind of quantum technology. We haven't even reached that yet because we are too Western in our linear thinking. Corporations have become too Western, management has become too Western. We have to go back to the idea of a kind of quantum. We have quantum thinkers. Mahabharata is a quantum technology, quantum storytelling. You could go on adding to it. Bring a lot of or AI down, or add kardo. We're not scared of AI. We look forward to it. I love the fact that little kids can have the technology and create things. If I'm retire ho jaunga, to retire ho jaunga. I'm refusing to retire, so I'm making films in AI. You just adapt here, right? Okay, sorry. How passionate I am about AI.
I'm going to come to Suraj now. Suraj, one of your former competitive agencies, WPP, they have a chief AI officer. And he said at some point that companies should look at AI agents like intoxicated graduates. Do you agree with that? And, or can they be sold up and put to use?
I like the word intoxication, but I don't know the statement which you're talking about. I feel the fallacy of using AI officer itself is, at least for me, doesn't go. Because it's a bit like oxygen, right? Do you make an oxygen officer or CEO oxygen? To me, AI or data or any of these today or Wi-Fi, they're oxygen. They're there for everybody and everybody is plugging into it. So I feel somewhere there's this very interesting incident where one of my writer who is no more in the agency but is just freelance for tech companies. I said that the big tech companies have asked him to just go through the copy and make it more human. Because they have, of course, kind of used ChatGPT, right? Now, that's the problematic area, which is somewhere are we being deluded that speed is all we need? And I think that's when you start getting into the whole idea of losing the idea that AI is a tool. How many of us had imaginary friend when we were growing up? I had. I used to talk to my imaginary friend all the time, and my mother was like, who are you talking to? I said, my friend. I thought I'm really mad. But I always had that friend. I even have that friend today. But today, I actually have that friend whom I can talk to. To me, AI is a bit like that, and each one of us have that. So I feel that creative agencies, particularly or creative business, if using AI as a department or an officer or a tool or a designation, they won't suffer. They won't be intoxicated. You've got to be hallucinating with that imaginary friend to create something wacky, create something which people have not seen. And just want to add another thing to point of Shekhar, The thing about democratization, right? Today everybody has an opinion. Because everybody can post as many different identities on the platforms. Today everybody has data. Data is not a competitive advantage anymore. We are giving it at the security gates of all the gated complexes, right? How is this helping us? How are we getting better? Are brands getting better at connecting with consumers? Why is the Spanish holiday chasing me for the last 4 days on my post? So I'm a bit little skeptical about democratization equal to something which we actually benefit from. And I've always said this, the other session which I had at MICA, and I said about, are we questioning what kind of society we want to build? What kind of civilization we want to build? What kind of business we want to build? And these are amazing tools to use that. There's a one.
Thank you. Yes. Shekhar, you want to respond to that?
I have a question for the audience. Can I do that? Anybody raise their hands if they've never been in love? Raise your hand. Then how are you scared of AI? Do you think AI can love? No, remember when we were taught, she loves me not, she loves me, she loves me not, she loves me, she loves me not, right? If you have AI, it'll say, she loves me, she loves me, she loves me, she loves me, she loves me. Why would you fall in love? It is the essential idea of being human is uncertainty. अगर कल को आप बता दिए कल परसों ऐसे ही होगा तो why would you live? If you knew exactly that she loves me, she loves me, she loves me, why would you fall in love? We survive because life is uncertain. We survive because of uncertainty, and we spend our lives trying to find certainty. That's the conflict of life, right? आगे जाकर क्या है? वो उसके आगे अच्छा. Can I tell you a story? Give me 1 second. मैं लंदन में एडिटिंग कर रहा था. I brought my cook there. टीवी पे चल रहा था वो the anniversary of man's landing on the moon. So नाम सुरेश. Suresh, take. Man is landing on the moon. He looked at it and said, laughed. I said, क्यों हंस रहा तू? सर आप तो फिल्म मेकर हैं तो विजुअल इफेक्ट है. अब तो चांद को पूछते हैं आदमी चांद पे कैसे जाता है? So I took him to the Science Museum, मैंने उसको पूरा दिखाया, वहाँ वो अपोलो स्पेसक्राफ्ट में सब कुछ है. वापस आया, बड़ा इंप्रेस लग रहा था सुरेश. I thought I'd won. So I said, सुरेश तो आदमी चांद पे गया था. He said, हाँ सर, आपके चांद पे गया था, मेरे चांद पे नहीं. That's the concept of life. That is the greatest lesson I've ever learned on quantum physics is what my cook told me. So आपका चांद दूसरा, मेरा चांद दूसरा. The universe exists in how we imagine it too. आप पूरे quantum physics पढ़ो, वो कहेंगे, उपनिषद पढ़ लो, वो ही कहेंगे. इसमें AI कहाँ का है? क्योंकि it's a mystery. और because it's mystery, the storytelling में mystery है, story कैसे बताएंगे? Art में mystery अगर पिकासो आप देखो उसमें mystery नहीं होगी, art कैसे बनेगा? So the one way to understand AI is to understand what it cannot do, what is not human about it, and then we can find it.
Thank you. Since I think we're running out of time, I just have a final question for each of our panelists. Aparna, I'd like you all to just share with our audience, some of the most unusual or wacky new uses that you have found for AI, which you could maybe share with people. It could be a tip, or it could be a story of failure.
Definitely. I use, because I write a lot of articles in LinkedIn, so I definitely use AI to do a lot of my research work. Earlier I couldn't, because I had to read HBRs, I had to go onto the net to research what the world is doing. A lot of these aspects are there before you actually put a content out. So it may not be a wacky thing, but that has become a necessity for me. So I need that to tell me that what I am doing or what I intend to do, right? Is that something that you can support that? It can't think. It's not a tool where it can intuitively think or visualize or have a vision or purpose. I have that. So I go ahead and give that purpose to it in terms of telling me that now tell me what it is. And my failure, if you ask me, earlier I didn't have all this. I never had. It was a manual work. Shekhar said, Suraj said, a lot of work has gone in, but the creativity is still with human. AI was created because there was a creativity. Somebody had a vision. So my take is on both sides. I love to use it, but I also don't love to use it because I still want the human aspect to be there. So that's my take. That's what I.
Suraj?
A personal story. I lost my mom recently, and she was always talking about it last 2-3 months before passing away. She constantly would talk about her home, her father. It was the nature of conversation, So on her birthday, I actually created an AI video of my Nana talking to her because we had a voice note and stuff like that on the VHS cassette. That to me remains one of the most memorable use of AI. While we have done many things in advertising, I believe there is a story which happened there, and she was amazed at it. My mother used to call all messages on social media chitti. Chitti aaye. She never said message aaye, So to me, AI can do amazing things to actually bring memories alive which you never saw. And that was my story.
Thank you. Shekhar, you've told us about the cleaning lady, and you've told us about
I've
what
given
about
you
you?
enough stories about what's happened with me today, but you know what? I use AI more now to show I'm better. I put all my scripts into AI, it comes up with solutions, and I just laugh because AI is not human. But is it a great tool? Of course it is. It's fantastic. But it's never got my schedule right. People still have to call me, "Arey, 12 baje aap kyun nahi aaye?" And I go back to my AI and say, "Kya hua?" And then, you know, and I put it in two of them. I use Google AI and I also use ChatGPT. Both of them get my schedule wrong. So it's got a long way to go, but it's such an exciting tool. But it's boring. It's a social tool. It's fantastic that way. But I test my ability to be unpredictable with AI. As long as I'm unpredictable, I'm creative. If I'm predictable, I'll go home and be a chartered accountant again. Sorry. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Shekhar, Aparna, and Suraj. It's been a pleasure, all of you. Thank you.
Please keep sitting. Please keep sitting. We've got a little more here. So this was indeed very rich because we heard views, diverse, deep, converging, and indicating multiple ways in which imagination and creativity will deliver values. We heard process and we heard defy the process. But the common thing that rang was that there has to be a value that has to be created at the end of it. And what that value is of consequence. So thank you so much, Malika, for doing this for us. Completely honored. Thank you, everybody. But before we conclude, on behalf of the entire MICA fraternity, I'd like to extend a memento to each one of you on the dais here. So to start with, may I request MICA Director and CEO, Ms. JAYA DESHMUKH, to offer a memento to Shekhar Kapur, and we all clap loud. Thank you.
What does value mean in the term of AI? Who? Come on, describe value to somebody.
Value?
What does that mean?
That
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
NVIDIA today is a $4 trillion company. Are we finished? I was a chartered accountant, many of you accountants. We were told at that time that if you really like a company, the PE ratio should be 4, 5, 6, 7. It's almost 1,000 times.
Yes.
So what does that value mean? It's a myth. It's a story. All value is a story, right?
And
Thank you.
just one little bit, that value could also be value of happiness, and that's what you're saying.
Now, try
Additional
and
story.
define happiness.
We do that together. Thank you.
Yeah,
Looking
that's
forward
okay.
to a lot
Thank
from you. Thank you. I request MICA Dean and Principal, Dr. Geeta Hegde, to thank Ms. Aparna Kumar and offer a memento. Thank you. Dr. Indraneel Banerjee, Head External Affairs and Growth at MICA, to offer the memento to Malika. And finally, me, Ruch Tiwari, Faculty and CMO at MICA. I have the privilege of offering memento to Suraj. Thank you, everybody. You were a great audience, but it's not over. Thank you, everybody. We should soon get into the heart of today's event. Like, that's the meat. The much-awaited announcements. I'll request Director and CEO JAYA to please come up, and now she takes charge. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Maybe Suraj, you can be here. Of course. So sorry.
She told me I'm getting.
Okay, should we all settle down? What am I? I'm going to invite now members to come and join me for what you've been waiting for, which is the press conference. So may I please request Mrs. Ambani to please come in. Please. Shekhar, you're back on stage.
Really?
Yes, please. And Ram, may I request you to please join us? Thank you so much. So hello everyone, thank you all for coming. Let me begin by welcoming the chairperson of the MICA Foundation, Mrs. AMBANI. Thank you for making time from your busy schedule. We really appreciate this and thank you for supporting us, as you always have. A very warm welcome to Mr. Ramkumar Ramamurthy. He's a member of our MICA's Governing Council. He's partner at Catalytics and former CMD of Cognizant India. And Mr. Shekhar Kapur, who you already know, so I don't need to introduce you. He's known for his creative genius. And, lately, for the past few years, he's an AI philosopher, which has been an interesting turn of events. And I'm JAYA DESHMUKH, I'm the director and CEO of MICA, but I like to introduce myself as who I really am, which is I am from the first batch of MICA, and I'm really proud of being a MICA. So thank you so much for being here. I also extend a warm welcome, I know Ruchi did this, to Aparna, Suraj and Malika, distinguished guests. Malika is also a fellow MICAN, so there are quite a few fellow MICANs here in the audience supporting us, so thank you so much for coming over. This is truly a landmark day in the 34-year history of MICA. And before I begin my opening remarks, I wanted to extend my congratulations to the foundation, foundation trustees, foundation representatives, president of MICA's Governing Council, MICA's Governing Council members, over 100 plus faculty that work in MICA, that teach at MICA, over 250 recruiters who recruit from MICA, over 4,000 alum, yes, that's how many MICANs are out there, scholars, current students and staff. We are here today due to your contributions and your love for MICA, so big congratulations to all of you. So MICA was set up in 1991 as a school for marketing, advertising and communication, a different school of thought, and it encouraged out-of-the-box thinking amongst its students. So when I was a student there, our tagline was "the language begins here," and we were taught by stalwarts, right? And our foundation, and some of us are from the early batches of MICA, was to be a rebel, to go against the norm, to have our voice heard. So we were different right from the start. And foundational to MICA is the belief that storytelling matters. And probably the one thing that our professors constantly told us, that it's great to have a brilliant idea, but without a brilliant expression and execution, it is pointless. So what happens at MICA is that when you come there and you land there, it's bubbling with joy, ideas, creativity, different kind of thinking. And then you'll see, a lot of us sitting down and saying, how do we make this real? So over the years, MICA has shaped into a name to reckon with in marketing, communications, creativity, strategy, product management, and more recently into this whole digital space. Over the past 10 years, a lot of us are working in those areas. Now we've managed to do this because we've got a very rigorous admissions process, and someday I'd love to share what we do, because what we test for is not just analytical ability, we test for critical thinking, but what really differentiates us is can we think out of the box? You know, the thing that Shekhar talked about, uncertainty, ambiguity, you know, can we untether ourselves from the past? So our admissions process actually tests for that. And apart from that, we build spaces and resources to experiment. So a lot of experimentation happens at MICA. We create strong partnerships and collaborations with the industry. You know, a lot of what is taught at MICA is theory and applications, and the applications come straight from industry. That's why we've got Suraj here. You know, he's an example of a lot of industry inputs into our curriculum and pedagogy. And this has resulted in a year-on-year track record of amazing placements, 100% most of the time, rising percentage of pre-placement offers, steady increase in average salaries, and of course, rankings matter. You know, I know the pyramid is flat, but we still have to deal with some operational things such as NIRF rankings. So amongst all private management institutes, we now rank number 8 all India. Our postgraduate programs, our FPM programs, our MBA and PhD equivalent, given to us by AICTE and AIU and NBA. So, we've been working really hard. But at MICA, we don't rest on our past laurels, and you'll see that. When we're doing really well, we want to go and innovate, we want to do something different. And so we spent all of last year taking some time to craft a strategy for the next 5 years. Well, the roadmap is ready and we are ready to go. So what we did was to commission, being a good school, and we wanted information and data, right? So we commissioned a big study, comprehensive, like I'm a bit scared to use the word, but we did do that.